So I went to this fast food place, Zuma stated, and they had two openings to throw the trash into the garbage and other for recycling. Hours earlier, massively tragedy had occurred. Rubble's agonizing scream could be heard all across the lookout. It became known just what had happened as everyone picked up their heads in surprise. They were out of pup treats. Now Zuma, Rocky, and Marshall were on the most important mission of all, going to the store. The three dogs casually walking by themselves on the sidewalk. It was nice to get away from the tower every once in a while, and they could only take Chase's attitudes for so long. And Marshall himself needed a breather from that chaos that had been going on. "That's great," Rocky chirped, hoping a little. "It's so nice to know what the others places practice going green." "But both went to the same trash bin," the lab finished. "It's literally didn't matter." Marshall could be heard barely holding a laugh. Rocky snapped his head at his partner, his eyes wide and shocked. "What? Why would anyone do that?" "I don't know. Custom appeal?" shrugged the brown lab. "A lot of places make companies make it look like they're support or do something for the customer appreciation," Marshall explained it. "It's funny. You think they care, and they say they care, but they don't." The mixed breed stared at the bewildered expression, like his entire life's purpose had been shattered in 4 seconds. It was almost humorous how Rocky was near obsessed with what he called the green movement, happily separating the trash and recycling and making use of discarded items. Everyone knew he was pure-hearted for thinking such, but one dog in green wasn't exactly going to change the world. "Rocky, you're about to..." The mix suddenly slammed into the stop sign. He was too distracted from Zuma's statement to watch the path before him. He stumbled backwards from the impact, wobbling for a second before hitting the pavement. Marshall couldn't hold his laughter anymore as he let out a massive wheeze, followed by an assault of giggles and laughing. "You're turning into me!" Zuma rolled his eyes and smiled softly, moving to help him up. "You okay?" "I want to find that restaurant," Rocky growled in determination. "What?" "I said I want to find that place and rip them a new one," the mix snarled, accepting Zuma's paw and was held back up. "I'll save your tweets for when you come back," the lab giggled in amusement. "I'm serious. You didn't say you wouldn't." Rocky grumbled to himself as he rounded the sidewalk corner. The shopping plaza was just a little ways away. As dogs walked there were always good for the soul, and some much-needed exercise was all Zuma needed to call it a day. At most he was just amused at Rocky's blind confidence. It was entertaining to see his close friend getting worked up over little things, and then swear to change the world. Rocky himself didn't feel the same way. As far as he knew, he had a heart as large as a Great Dane, and he could conquer anything if he really tried. "One day, Zuma," Rocky sighed. "One day you'll see how much I can really do." "Don't let Chase let you see that," Marshall said. "It'll give you one of his looks." The lab smiled warmly. "Well, I to take it easy before that day happens. Now let's get these tweets before Wubble whips them down the entire lookout." "You ever wanted to get that speech impairment taken care of?" Rocky offered. The lab instantly turned his head away with a stubborn look. "No." Now it was Rocky's turn to laugh. It was always fun to poke at Zuma for the one thing he hated. He seemed to have been the one dog spared from the intimate pillow to face whatever they mentioned Zuma's impediment. Rocky didn't question why he got a special treatment like that, but he wouldn't complain anytime soon. They continued bickering as they walked, ranting about small topics that were utterly meaningless in greater scope of things. They soon rounded the corner, and both dogs stopped in their tracks at the sight of before them. "Huh?" Rocky recoiled. "What are they doing?" Down the street up ahead, multiple roadblocks had been set up, completely barricading the main part of town. Dark vehicles were parked behind it, seemingly acting like another wall to ensure nothing crossed the line. Marshall halted in his steps, almost shrinking down in size as he moved backwards. Rocky took a step back when he recognized 2 dogs watching over the structure. Standing at the sidelines were armored dogs identical to the ones that scarred them to the mixed breed's head. "No!" The mix stumbled back, starting to run with fear in his eyes. "Walkie, wait," Zuma tried to say, but his friend had already fled several feet away. "I'll find him." Marshall turned, following Rocky. Narrowing his eyes, the lab slowly approached the border. Armored Dog had already noticed him a long time ago, and it was not taking his eyes away as Zuma cautiously walked up. "Leave, Labrador," the guard called out to him. "This section of town is closed." "Closed?" Zuma repeated, confusion in his eyes. "How can it be closed like that?" "Because we say so," the large dog said. Now leave before you're detained." Befuddled as he was, the lab decided he liked his life and quickly turned away. Leaving the scene, he eventually found Rocky hiding under a park bench a few seconds later, shaking like a leaf. Marshall was actually sitting down on the bench above him, looking deep in thought as he waited for the lab to return. Concern watched over Zuma as he tried to speak a few words to his recycled friend, but with no response. Rocky was barely recovering from his own interactions with the ACG and needed to be escorted home. Zuma would ensure Rocky would see safety, but not before turning to Marshall. "Tell Chase and Ryder," the Dalmatian nodded and spoke into his pup tag. "Chase?" he asked, contacting his close friends. "What is it?" came a rather tired-sounding voice. "Come to the city park as fast as you can," Marshall said fearfully. "Seriously, you need to hurry. It's those dogs again." He ended the call and quickly contacted Ryder. It was moments like this that reminded Chase that he hadn't slept in seriously a long time. After taking that awfully unhelped dog at the calf, all he wanted to do was collapse onto his bed and dream of pup treats. But he couldn't sleep now. He was now running down the sidewalk through the town, his bed miles away. Chase didn't seem to want to admit, but there were movements when he hated being in charge of everything. It was one thing of the ACG soldiers to imply on their missions, but it was the whole thing for them that hurt his friends. It was entirely another ballpark for them to interfere with the city. He was growing sick of these dogs, and he didn't know where they came from or what they wanted. They were all doing down here as of now harm. It didn't take long for him to find the roadblocks. It wasn't even one Zuma had walked up to. The border had already cut through the city and divided out a large portion of the shopping districts. Taking careful steps, he observed the gates and what had built and spotted people on the other side trying to cross through it. Every time an armored dog either talked to them away or maced the person right in their eyes. Chase winced as a man, blinded by the spray, and was helplessly dragged off into an undisclosed location. Spotting two dogs guarding the gates, Chase took a deep breath and wandered closer. "Hey!" The guard dog spotted the shepherd through his goggles. "Back off!" "What's going on?" Chase asked. "Where did they take that man?" "I said back off, puppy!" the armored animal retorted. "Hey, I'm a police division here," the shepherd argued. "I have the right to know." "You police?" The tactical tilted his head. "You're insane." "No, I'm... Hey, Gavin!" The dog suddenly turned, calling to someone a few feet away. "Check out this puppy. He says he's a police officer." Chase flattened his ears in mild embarrassment, letting his head lower for a little as a second. Shorter dog ran up to the gate. "No way, seriously?" they bellowed. "That thing?" "I'm with the Paw Patrol," he tried to explain. His own tail started to dart under him. "Ooh, I'm so scared," chuckled the ACG dog. "The Paw Patrol essentially is a bunch of orphan puppies playing dress-up." Chase nearly ground. "I'm not here to be made fun of. I want to know why you're closing down the city." The two guards shared a brief laugh before turning back to the puppy. "Look, kid, even if you were a real police officer, we can't fly that info just to anyone. You register in ACAP?" "What's that?" The police dog tilted his head. "A civilian assistance program," the dog explained. "Your friends and your neighbors apply to assist in our operations in exchange for money or protection. If you want to know anything, you'll need to be cleared to help us first." Chase picked up his ears, thinking over the new information. "How do I apply?" "Ha, first of all," the shorter guard chuckled, "I think you need to have hit puberty first." They both laughed again. "I've hit puberty," Chase trailed off, lowering his head once again. "Look," a guard dog laughed, "go find the tent in the front city hall. You'll get interviewed there, but don't hold your breath." Narrowing his eyes at the bullies, Chase sharply turned and ran off before both guards were still laughing behind him. His teeth was clenched as he tried to simmer down the rage that boiled within him. No one took him seriously, and he was a fully fledged member of law enforcement, and all anyone ever did was laugh at him. Sure, he was a tiny compared to the ACG soldiers, but he had the right to be recognized for what he was. It was no matter, he had a real lead to use now. All he had to do was pass a simple interview, and all true intentions would hopefully be revealed. "Chase?" Ryder's voice came on through his tag. "Doing some field work, sir," he reported. "I have a lead on the ACG." "What, really?" "They have a tent at City Hall, where I can apply for a cap," Chase explained. "I should be able to." "Chase, I'm gonna stop you right there. Whatever you're planning on doing, stop it." The police dog hit brakes, coming to a stop with a surprised expression. "What? Why?" "I don't need you getting in the middle of ACG," Ryder explained sternly. "If those dogs are military experiments, I am not going to have you get roped in." "But sir, I really have something here," Chase protested. "I have the right to know what's going on." "It's not happening, Chase. Get back here. That's an order," Ryder finished, slightly raising his voice at the end. Anger and confusion rose within the shepherd. Why was everything being torn from him? It wasn't fair or right when he had something. Ryder had stepped in and slapped it out of his paws. What was Ryder getting so worked up about anyway? Chase was a police officer, and officers knew how to handle things themselves. His anger quickly turned into determination, and his mind began churning at the idea. "Yes, sir," he replied. "I'll head back." "All right, then." Once Ryder went offline, Chase grinned to himself as he listened to him. For now he had his own plans. He had his own tasks to complete. All needed now was for his friends to stay out of the way and get clear. Regardless of what Ryder said, he was going to City Hall, and he was going to get answers on the ACG. No matter how far into the lion's den, he would have to go.